Tony Calero de las Provincias. Me gustaría saber cómo ve al equipo anímicamente, si lo ve preparado para afrontar el partido de Éibar después de la eliminación en la Champions.
We've laid off the team a little bit in the last few days since the game, but I think this morning we trained. It was very good, the spirit was good. I think that you had cameras in there for the first 15 minutos, and you saw it was good. It was good, it was very good. The players seemed very happy. I think also 2 or 3 players have returned to training, Andre, Antonio, Lucas. So I think that always lifts spirits as well when people can see that the players come back from training. So we've seen that for the last 2 days, and the training yesterday and today has been very good, and the spirit's been good.
Hola, mister Juan Carlos Alarcón de Plaza Deportiva. Y físicamente, una pregunta anímicamente, físicamente, un aspecto en el que usted incidió mucho tras el partido contra el León, ¿cómo está el equipo? Y habla de que recupera un par de jugadores, 3, pero ¿cómo está el equipo físicamente para afrontar estos partidos de aquí a final de año?
I think that that's something I mentioned after the game on Wednesday. I think that ultimately now, with the fact that we've got 3 players returning to training in the last 2 days, that'll bring a level of freshness back into the team and to the squad. So from that point of view, you know, I'm more comfortable. I think that I said on Wednesday that the same players have been expected to play every 3 days, and that's something that obviously is never always perfect. You know, the reason you have a squad of 20-22 players is that you're able to rotate and use players in a way which is sensible, and I think that's been prevented in this last few weeks. It's not an excuse, it's just a situation. I think that at this moment now, though, I feel happier this morning that we have players now starting to return, and we can start to look after players as they need, as we see fit.
Hola, buenos días, Sergio de de la agencia F. Después de una semana de trabajo ya con toda la plantilla, ¿dónde cree que debe hacer más hincapié? ¿Dónde cree que puede trabajar y debe trabajar más con la plantilla?
I think there's a lot of aspects that we can work on. I think we always need to improve. I think especially when the most exciting thing in this last week is the talent and the youthfulness in the squad, because then you can see that they all want to learn, and they're like sponges. They want to soak in all the information. But I think it's important from my point of view, and Gulo and Phil, that we don't give them too much information too quickly, that it's little by little, and that we can just see small steps. We're building brick by brick from the foundation. We have to start off listening to a new coach. I've experienced that before, obviously, as a player with England, where you need some time to be able to understand each other. But I think that the meetings that I've had with individuals, which I've had many now, the small meetings with unit groups, the feedback from the Lyon game, I feel more enthused today than I did last week, and last week I was enthused, so I feel more enthused that actually when you see players at 19, 20, 21 with the talent that they have out there, it's almost like a dream scenario, because as a coach you want to see players who want to learn, who want to progress, who want to get better, who haven't reached their peak yet. We've not got players out on that training ground who have run their race. I don't know if you can translate that. You know, there's no 35, 36-year-old players who are coming here for a last moment in their careers, who are coming here for a rest. Every single player is looking to improve, get better, fight, and it's exciting for Valencia. I know at the moment there might have to be a little bit of patience, but that's something that I think the club has, the owners have, I have. I know that patience is difficult in football because everybody wants success today, but I feel completely different and more relaxed today than I did a week ago, because of the fact of the energy and the youthfulness and the enthusiasm in the squad that exists to want to get better and learn.
Hola, buenos días. Amparo del periódico Levante. Yo quería preguntarle, en el centro del campo pierde a 2 piezas fundamentales como son Enzo Pérez y...
Parejo.
Quería preguntarle, Ante Gómez reaparece en la convocatoria después de un tiempo lesionado. ¿Usted cree que está disponible para jugar desde el inicio?
Is Andre going to play from the start? I'm not quite sure whether I should tell you. Or not. There's a good chance that he will start the game. But I want to be very careful. For a player who's been out injured and then to return them in what is a difficult away game at Éibar, I want to be sensible. But with Danny injured, Danny suspended, and Enzo injured, our options are obviously less. But from that point of view, the players that are coming back are naturally fit. They're naturally strong. I think that Lucas, Antonio and Andre are all very good physiques. And I think from that point of view it'll be no problem for them to play in the game. But I think I want to try and leave that decision until later on, until I know that I've spoken with the doctors. They've only come through trainings twice, so I think we have to make sure that there's no reaction in training today, and then we can make a decision for sure later on.
Julián Burgos de AS, en la rueda de prensa anterior al partido de Champions dijo que en 48 horas era muy difícil que se viera algo en el césped de lo que usted podía haber aportado. Con una semana de entrenamiento, ¿qué es lo que ha podido aportar a los jugadores y si se va a poder ver algo en el césped de Éibar?
I hope so. That's always the intention, for the team to get a better understanding of what we want. And at this moment in time, we're forcing the same 2 or 3 principles into training. And also, I think one of the things about modern football is that because of the games now every 3 days, and the fact that it's impossible to get the players out onto the training pitch to do long, repetitive training sessions, we're now talking about video analysis. In 15-20 years ago they were seen as meetings. Now they're training sessions. Players have to interact, and that's something that's been enjoyable in this last 24-48 hours, that the players have interacted in the meetings that we've had, that they feed back, they have no problem with discussing the situation, and that's how I like to see it, because I don't see a video meeting as a lecture. I see it as a training session where they have to partake as they would do a field training session. So I think that whilst we have restricted training sessions available before the Christmas break, we have enough time in the analysis room to be able to analyse and look through things. I think that's important, because it's the only other way to do it, because we know that we can't train for 2 hours on Thursday after Lyon. We know we can't train for 2 hours the day before Éibar.
El día antes del partido con el Éibar. No podemos hacer sesiones repetitivas e intensas de entrenamiento.
Hola, buenos días, Gary. Ignacio de Diario de Mestalla. No sé cómo ha preparado el partido contra el Éibar, pero sí que es verdad que es un campo bastante británico. No sé si eso le confiere alguna ventaja en relación al fútbol directo, por ejemplo.
Yeah, I'm playing tomorrow. English football. No, I know I've watched a lot of the videos in the last 48 hours. I can see that the ground is a typical ground that you would find in English football, but obviously it exists in Spain as well. I think from my point of view, it's a great challenge when you go to this type of ground. It's a test of physicality, mentality, competitiveness, and I think that from that point of view we have to match Éibar in all those facets tomorrow, obviously the quality as well. So I think that I understand what you mean by the ground, and it's not being disrespectful. Actually, I've got great respect for all clubs that play at high level football. They really, different styles, different grounds, different circumstances, different budgets. So you've got to give great credit to Éibar for their emergence in this last couple of seasons, what they're doing. There's more than one way to skin a cat in football. It's important spirit and fight and a togetherness in a team, and obviously with some players of quality can go a long way, and it's the same goes for every club, and I think that Éibar deserve a lot of credit for that.
Alex Heras del Desmarque. El Valencia está siendo en esta temporada irregular en la Liga y sin embargo todavía tiene los puestos de cabeza o los puestos de Champions bastante cerca. Pero en estos últimos 3 partidos, las últimas 3 jornadas, este fin de semana, el partido contra el Getafe y Villarreal, se antoja casi necesario una reacción en la Liga, sumar prácticamente 9 de 9 para mantener las opciones de Champions.
I absolutely agree. I think as a coach, but as a player, you look at games in batches. You look at sort of games in sort of 2s and 3s, even though the focus is always on the next game. But I agree. You look at sort of 3 games and think we need to do well in these games. I think that you're right. You know, Éibar are level with us at this moment in time. So I think that we're playing people who are direct rivals around us. We understand the start of the season has been up and down, and that's the reason that I'm here. But you know, we need to pick up good levels of points in these matches, and they're not easy matches. But we know our expectation. As much as we have to have respect for our opponents, we have to understand also we're Valencia. We have to have expectation upon ourselves to win the matches. As difficult as it's always going to be, going away in any top league is difficult. But we have to be ready for these moments now. And I feel, particularly with some players re-emerging this morning, and the fact that we had a bigger squad training, that we've got a little bit more strength in depth to be able to cope with the next 7 days, which is obviously the Copa del Rey, Baracalda and Getafe next Saturday.
Vamos con las últimas preguntas ya. Pablo.
Buenos días, mister. Pablo Medrano, Deportes 4. Bueno, aparte de ver tanto fútbol que ha visto usted, ¿ha tenido también usted tiempo de disfrutar de una buena paella? Y si es así,
paella.
Está más buena la paella que los fish and chips.
Every day. I had paella on Thursday in a small restaurant in the middle of town. I can't remember where it was. A very famous paella restaurant, and it had rabbit in it as well. Yeah, I think, I'm English, so eating rabbit in paella is different, but I have to say that this week I've eaten octopus and rabbit, and I've never had those things. Where I grew up near Manchester, we don't have octopus and rabbit. But the food's very good. You can see.
Mister, yo le quería preguntar por Álvaro Negredo. Sé que a los entrenadores no les gusta individualizar en los jugadores, pero le quería preguntar por cómo le ha visto. No sé si en este tiempo que lleva usted ha podido comprobar la situación peculiar que vive Negredo, esa gran conexión que tiene con la grada, también por la situación que ha vivido, las grandes expectativas que generó su fichaje. Usted lo conoce de su etapa en el City y le ha visto mucho. ¿Usted cree que puede recuperar a ese Álvaro Negredo que deslumbró y que ha causado grandes expectativas en Valencia y que todavía no se ha visto? ¿O cómo le ve?
Watching Alvaro at Manchester City 2 or 3 seasons ago now, he had a big impact in the Premier League, big impact. He was almost like the perfect striker for the Premier League at Manchester City. He was wonderful, and I see no reason why he can't recover to that level. But I think at this moment in time, I spoke with Alvaro before the Lyon game and said to him that it's important for if players are out for 1 or 2 weeks, then they need shorter recuperation. They can come back into the team pretty quickly. But when a player's not played for 3 months, it's important then you phase him back in and in a sensible way, and that he's not introduced too quickly so that he breaks down again. And I think at this moment in time, Alvaro's getting stronger every day, but he knows that it's a process to be able to get him to his absolute peak fitness. It's not one that's going to be immediate and overnight. It's going to be a case of 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 45 minutes, and stepping up each time until eventually he gets to a point whereby he gets his match sharpness, his confidence, his belief. But I have confidence and belief in him because 1, he's a good player, 2, I've seen him at such a high level. He provides something very different for the squad. He's a big, important character in the squad. And from my point of view, in this last week, he's been very good in training. But also, we're being sensible about things and understand that it's not an immediate, return straight away to absolutely the top level. But you can get to that top level, I'm convinced.
Muy bien, muchas gracias.
¿Sí?
Finish.
Ah. Gracias.